Hey there, and welcome back to the channel, where we talk about everything Tamur and a bit of Orzhov.
Today we'll be doing another Commander deck tech based around one of the new commanders from Theros Beyond Death. It's Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath.
This is a Simic commander from the new set, who can draw you cards and ramp you, two of the things that are great for EDH.
Uro is 1, a green and a blue, that's 3 mana total, for a 6/6 legendary creature, Elder Giant. When Uro enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escapes. So escape is the new mechanic from the set, which allows you to play cards from your graveyard. It also says, when Uro enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life, draw a card, then put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So this is the part that allows you to both draw cards and ramp, and it's exceptionally powerful for such a low mana costing creature. He is a 6/6, and he has the ability to escape for 2 green and 2 blue, and exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its escape cost.
Okay, so we're gonna go onto the creatures now. So, the first one we've got is a ramp, which is called Arbor Elf. So it is 1 green for a 1/1, and it has an ability, tap, untap target forest. So this is good because you can also, it might just seem like a Llanowar Elves or anything that just taps for green mana, but this can also untap all your shocks and jewels as well to get other colours of mana. So all around this is just pretty good.
We've got a new card from the set, Dryad of the Elysian Grove. It's 2 and a green for a 2/4, enchantment creature Nymph, and you may play an additional land on each of your turns, so even more ramp, and lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types, which works well with the Arbor Elf, because it can untap forests, but this can untap everything else.
So it's basically exploration, right?
Yeah, it's a similar exploration type effect. But
on a creature as well, which is quite a downside, but still, it gives you all colours of mana.
We got the basically Llanowar Elves, Elvish Mystic, 1 green for a 1/1, tap for 1 green.
And it's a druid, so if there's druid tribal out there, it's better than Llanowar Elves. No, Llanowar Elves is just an elf.
No, it's
oh, never mind.
So then we got Golgari Brown Scale, 1 and 2 green for 2/3. When Golgari Brown Scale is put into your hand from your graveyard, you gain 2 life, and it has Dredge 2. So this can put cards into your graveyard to help you escape Uro and other cards that interact with your graveyard. Another Dredge card now.
Golgari Grave Troll. This had a bit of hate in Modern, I think, or it's banned or something. But banned in most formats. So it's a 0/0 for 4 and a green. Golgari Grave Troll enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature in your graveyard. And it has 1, remove a +1/+1 counter from Golgari Grave Troll, regenerate Golgari Grave Troll. Then it has Dredge 6. So just an all-round decent card.
It's the Dredge 6 is what got it restricted in Vintage. Then we got Laboratory Maniac. So in this deck, you'll find we draw a lot of cards, and Labman is a great way to win you the game instead of losing from when you draw just a couple too many cards. We got the basic Llanowar Elves. Then we got Magus of the Bazaar, 1 and a blue for 0/1. You can tap it to draw 2 cards, then discard 3 cards. So this is a play on the card Bazaar of Baghdad, which is a vintage Dredge staple actually, which is a land that allows you to tap, draw 2 cards, and discard 3 cards.
So the Magus cycle basically did stuff that was more powerful, like
found on the older, more powerful cards.
Yeah, except on a creature, and sometimes nerfed, I think.
Yeah, generally nerfed, or just often they were, a lot of them were tap effects, so creatures not being able to tap first turn was a downside.
Yeah.
Then another new card.
So Nyx Bloom Ancient. So it's 4 and 3 green for a 5/5 Trampler, And if you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much mana of that mana instead.
So this
I
is
mispronounced that.
yeah. So 7 mana seems like a lot, especially with 3 green. It shouldn't be too hard to reach with this Uro deck playing lots of lands and just having lots of dorks. And just 3 times the mana is absolutely ridiculous. You can probably cast Uro from your graveyard or the command zone quite a few times to get lots of value out of that. Just a great card generally. Unfortunately, it is also quite expensive as it is one of the better cards from the new set, and it's a mythic.
Yeah. Another one. Ramenup Excavator. Ramenup Excavator. 2 and a green for a 2/3, and you may play lands from your graveyard. So basically, this is a Crucible of Worlds on a creature. For how much is Crucible of Worlds?
A 3 mana artifact.
Oh, okay. So it just is a creature 2/3 instead. Yeah.
But it costs green mana.
Yeah.
Then we got Sakura Tribe Elder, just a general great card. 1 green, 1 and a green for a 1/1, and you can sacrifice it to search your library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So many people consider this to just be a slightly better version of Rampant Growth, which has the same effect, but that's on a sorcery. So this is just a creature, you can block with it early in the game, and then after you block with it, because it's only a 1/1, you probably have to and then you just sacrifice it and get the land.
Yeah, and block a bit of damage.
Yeah.
As long as it's not trample damage. Okay, so this is 1 and a green for a 1/1.
Sata Wayfinder.
Yeah, that one. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library, and you may put a land card from among them into your hand. Put the rest in your graveyard. So this is all round great to just find more lands if your engine stops going because you run out of lands in your hand, which probably won't happen most likely, but yeah,
you can find yourself with not enough lands to keep going with Uro, and then this can help you find them, and it also puts the cards into your graveyard so you can help recast Uro later on.
Yeah. Okay, next one.
We've got Seedborn Muse. I'd say
a commander staple.
Yeah, commander staple. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step.
So it's 3 and 2 green for a 2/4 spirit creature.
Yeah.
And yeah,
just
it has that effect.
That effect is so incredibly powerful. Even if you're only casting 1 or 2 instant speed things on other people's turns, untapping all your permanents, you can go swing in for a massive hit, and then all your creatures untap to block. It's a very powerful card. Then we got another very powerful card with this deck.
Yeah, so sometimes played as a commander. It's a Dominaria uncommon, which is pretty good. 3
Tatiova, Benthic Druid.
Yes. 3 green and a blue for a 3/3. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life and draw a card. So again, it's a card draw engine. It just gains you an extra life and an extra card whenever you play a land.
Yeah.
With Uro. So if you were to play Uro with Tatiova down, it gets you the obviously the card draw and the life. But when the land goes down with Uro, it gets an additional trigger on Tatiova, which puts down.
Yeah.
It gets life and draws a card.
Yeah, this is great. We got Thassa's Oracles. This is just basically a new card. It's pretty much a redundancy on the Lab Man effect, allowing you to survive and win the game off of having no cards left in your graveyard.
It's a 1/3 for 2 blue mana. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Put up to 1 of them on the top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game.
So
yeah.
When you have 0 cards left in your library, smack down this and bam, you win the game.
Yeah.
It automatically sets your devotion to at least 2. So
yeah, if you've got 1 card in your library or 2, you win.
Yeah.
But you're probably going to have a bit more than that, especially with Euro. So next one, Tireless Tracker, 2 and a green for a 3/2. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, investigate. Which investigate is put a colorless clue token onto the battlefield with 2, sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. And when you sacrifice a clue, put a +1/+1 counter on Tireless Tracker. So this is just another card draw engine, and it even gets +1/+1 counters on Tireless Tracker. So it'll get you probably 2 clues per turn. If you're cracking them, then you're getting more cards in your hand.
And you get a bigger creature.
Yeah, so I guess we
great
can
value.
Voltron with that.
Then we got Wayward Swordtooth. So this is from Rivals of Ixalan. It's a 2/3. Not 2/3. 2 and a green for a 5/5 with creature dinosaur with a ascend. So if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessing for the rest of the game. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Another one of those kinds of effects. And Wayward Swordtooth can't attack or block unless you have the city's blessing.
Yeah.
So it's a similar effect to Dryad of the Elysian Grove, but
And
probably not quite as good until you have the city's blessing. And then it's a 5/5 as well, which is relatively useful.
But you're probably going to want to play it on
Turn 3,
yeah, to get down the additional lands.
Yep.
Exploration.
Another card, Wood Elves, 2 and a green for a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a forest card and put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. More land grabbing from the library, getting it onto the battlefield to ramp you.
Yeah, again, this can grab non-basic forests.
Which is another useful effect.
Yeah.
Then we got World Shaper, 3 and a green for 3/3. Whenever World Shaper attacks, you may put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. And when it dies, put all lands from your graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. This is incredibly powerful, especially if you've got lots of lands going into your graveyard.
Which is
really,
mind.
yeah, it's not too
If
hard.
you're gonna mill yourself with Uro to get more for the escape mechanic.
Yeah, and then you just smack all your lands onto the battlefield from your graveyard and ramp yourself a ton. Very powerful card.
Okay, so on to the instants now. We've got a lot less than the 19 creatures we have. We've got 6 instants. First one is Frantic Search, which is 2 and a blue for an instant. Draw 2 cards, then choose and discard 2 cards. Untap up to 3 lands. So this is basically one of the free mechanic things, which you need 3 mana to cast it, but it pays for itself really when it untaps 3 lands. And even more if you've got something like Mixed Ancient on the battlefield, or a bounce land even.
Yeah, just a good card.
Yeah. Another one we had in our previous Ramos deck.
Then we got Growth Spiral, green and blue. A new card from, well, not super new, but relatively new from
Still
Ravnica
in standard.
Allegiance. Yeah, very powerful card. Instant, draw a card, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So it's kind of a similar effect to what Uro's doing.
Except without the life gain.
Yeah, it's still very, very good.
Yeah, it's still ramp.
Then we got Harrow, which is 2 and a green, instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a land. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. This is very good. You can also use the mana that you
From the previous land that you had.
so you tap the land for mana to play the spell, and then you sacrifice the tapped land and get 2 lands that are untapped as well.
Yeah.
Very good. Then we've got Reality Shift. This is just a decent removal card. 1 and a blue, exile, instant, exile target creature. Its controller manifests the top card of their library.
So it's good removal. So the manifest mechanic, just in case you haven't heard of it, that player puts the top card of their library onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2. If it's a creature card, it can be turned face up at any time for its mana cost. So this is good if you want to get rid of a threat, and a lot of the time it might not even be a creature. So there's a few specific cards out there that can let you play manifests that are like instants and stuff, but there's not really many, and chances are they're probably not going to have it. Even if they do have it in their deck, they might not have it down because
And most of the time people don't run it. So it's just a great removal card.
another one we had in our previous Ramos deck, because it's just so great. Return of the Wild Speaker. 4 and a green for an instant. Choose 1. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, or non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. again, I don't think we have any humans, and
No. Yeah.
yeah,
But other than that, it's just these kind of cards, other than Tyler Strapper, I think, is a human. But it's just these kind of cards with two options to choose from are really, really good, because in one circumstance you might need the card draw, and another one maybe you're attacking your opponent and you don't quite have lethal damage, but then you smack that down and you suddenly can win the game. So it's very, very useful.
yeah. The next one, Vapor Snag. So this one is just good value. 1 blue to return target creature to its owner's hand. Its controller loses a life.
Yeah, it's also useful because you can use it to bounce Uro before you have to sacrifice him.
Yeah. So it avoids command attacks, really.
Yeah. You can possibly play him again in the same turn.
Yeah.
Got enough mana.
It's like 7 mana for lose a life, gain 3 life twice.
Yeah.
Draw 2 cards, and then put 2 lands from your hand onto the battlefield. So the lose 1 life doesn't even matter because you just gain it straight back. Now onto the artifacts. Altar of Dementia, one of them from Modern Horizons, which is 2 for an artifact, and you sacrifice a creature. Target player puts a number of cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power from the top of their library into their graveyard.
So you can use this to mill yourself with something like Uro. So when Uro enters the battlefield, you have to sacrifice him unless he escaped. If he didn't escape, you sacrifice him to Altar of Dementia.
Mill yourself
And
for 6.
Mill yourself for 6, and then you've got those 6 cards in your graveyard, which you can then use with either other graveyard effects, maybe like Ramanap Excavator, play lands from your graveyard.
Yeah.
Or
you just use it for Uro
casting
escaping.
Uro. Yeah, you can escape Uro with it. So, great card in this deck. Then we've got Horn of Greed. This is the only other artifact we have. It's a 3-mana artifact that says whenever a player plays a land, that player draws a card. So generally, it's just most people are only drawing one land off this every turn. Drawing one card off this every turn.
Yeah, but with our deck, we can be playing lots of lands, drawing a lot of cards, and benefiting off it the most.
Yeah. Notice that it says when they play a land, not when a land enters the battlefield. So even if people are ramping up their lands, it doesn't actually let them draw any more cards.
Yeah, so
unless they're coming from their hand.
Just like Uro is it considered playing a land?
Yeah, so Uro lets you play a land card from your hand onto the battlefield.
Okay, yeah, so we are benefiting from it.
Yeah, that's the point. Then we got so onto our sorceries now. So only 2 artifacts in the deck. Creeping Renaissance is 3 and 2 green for sorcery. Choose a permanent type. Return all cards of the chosen type from your graveyard to your hand. And then it's got flashback for 5 and 2 green.
So the flashback mechanic just exiles it after you've cast it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Great card when you've maybe milled yourself quite a lot with Altar of Dementia, or you've just got a lot of cards in your graveyard and you maybe want to get back some of those types of cards. Just generally good.
yeah, another ramp card. Cultivate. It is 2 and a green to search your library for up to 2 basics, reveal those, and put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand, then shuffle. So, just great ramp and mana fixing all in one card.
And it puts a land into your hand for you to use with Uro. So,
Yeah, so, here's another
card is Explorer.
Yes. So,
1 and a green, you get to draw a card and you may play an additional land this turn.
so it's got an exploration mechanic
For 1.
and a cantrip.
Yeah, and it draws you the card, so it's similar once again to Uro's effect. It's basically another Growth Spiral.
Yeah. Another one, Far Wanderings. 2 and a green. You search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. And then it has Threshold, which is if 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, instead search your library for up to 3 basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So this is a good card with Uro because we're aiming to mill ourselves a bit, get a few cards in our graveyard to pay for escape sometimes. If not, we're just going to bounce into our hand, which might not go well with the Threshold, but it's still ramp, even if not the best way to do it. Another one, Farseek, just a great card in general. 1 and a green to search your library for plains, island, swamp, or mountain and put them onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library.
That can also grab non-basic lands, by the way. So
Again, with another non-basic shooter.
yeah. Then we got Finale of Devastation. X and 2 green for sorcery. Search your library for or graveyard for a creature card and put it onto with converted mana cost X or less and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If X is 10 or more, creatures you control get +X and gain haste until end of turn.
Okay, so we had this in our Ramos deck. It was a threat. Yeah, this one is just all around great. It grabs a creature which you might need. I'm not sure if we've got any big creatures in this deck which this really get benefits off. But it still gives them the +10/+10 or higher even.
Yeah.
Because we've got enough mana, we can just sink it all into it.
Yeah. You can maybe grab your Nyx Bloom Ancient, and notice it also can grab cards from your graveyard as well. So
If your Nyx Bloom Ancient has already died, then...
or maybe Uro died and is in the graveyard and you don't want to escape him, but you maybe want to get the benefit of the Finale of Devastation, you can throw Uro back from the graveyard onto the battlefield.
Yeah. Another one, Kadama's Reach, which is another kind of staple commander card. 2 and a green to search your library for up to 2 basic lands, reveal those cards, and put one onto the battlefield tapped and the other in your hand.
So it's an ever so slightly better version of Cultivate because it has the sorcery subtype Arcane. Not that this really applies in our deck, but other decks can sometimes take advantage of it.
Yeah. Next one up, Life from the Loam. So, 1 and a green.
1 green for sorcery, so return up to 3 target land cards from a graveyard to your hand. So this is useful with Uro when you need, maybe you've done a bit of milling with something like Altar of Dementia. You grab some lands from your graveyard, put them back in your hand to be put down again with Uro, and then it's got Dredge 3, so you can also put cards from the top of your library into your graveyard, to get life from the loam back into your hand. Yeah. Then we got Nisa's Pilgrimage. So this is 2 and a green, search your library for up to 2 basic forest cards, reveal those cards, put 1 onto the battlefield and the rest into your hand, then shuffle your library. But this, so you could almost say this is similar to Cultivate, but it's slightly worse because you can only grab forests, unfortunately. But it has Spell Mastery, so if there are 2 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard, search your library for up to 3 basic forest cards instead of 2, and then you get 2 into your hand and 1 onto the battlefield.
Yeah, so just again, mana fixing and ramp on the same card.
Yeah. Then you got Praetor's Council. So this is a very expensive card, 5 and 3 green for a sorcery. Return all cards from your graveyard to your hand, exile Praetor's Council. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game.
Yeah, so it gets back all your stuff that people have dealt with, gets you no max hand size, which is usually useful in all commander decks, but specifically this one because there's a lot of card draw.
And a lot of stuff coming back into your hand.
Yes. Next one, we've got Rampant Growth, another one we've talked about a bit. 1 and a green for a sorcery that searches your library for a basic land and puts it on the battlefield tapped. Then you shuffle your library. Just great value, great ramp, everything you want to do on ramp. Regrowth, 1 and a green for a sorcery. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Again, with this deck, we're trying to get cards in the graveyard, gonna do some good stuff.
And also helps you to bring back cards that maybe you don't want in the graveyard.
Yeah, so if someone dealt with a threat that you had, or if you had accidentally milled something that you really, really want, you can just get it back. This one's an interesting combo with Nyx Bloom Ancient. It's Rite of Replication. 2 and 2 blue for put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of target creature. Then it has kicker 5. You may pay an additional 5 as you cast this spell. And the kicker is, if Rite of Replication was kicked, put 5 of those tokens onto the battlefield instead. So I think I calculated this last night. If you get Nyx Bloom Ancient onto the battlefield and then Rite of Replication, it's something crazy like 700 mana per land.
I don't think so. If you tap a land for mana with multiple copies of an exclamation, I think each one just gets you 3 mana. No, so it says when you tap a permanent for mana, add 3 times that amount instead.
Yeah, but if you stack it so when it happens, the triggers all happen.
Okay, so it's a static effect. It's not like a triggered effect. So it's you add 3 times. So you tap something for 1, you get 3 times. You have to ask someone about that.
I'll just search it up real quick.
Yeah. So what happens when you have multiple copies of Nyxglobe Ancient on the battlefield?
Accumulative. So, for example, if you have 2 Nyxglobe Ancients on the battlefield, you get 9 times the original amount of mana.
Yeah. So
that's Gatherer, so it's right.
Yeah, so if you have 1 on the battlefield, then you kick the right replication, which is relatively easy with an Nyxglobe Ancient on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Only needing 3 lands. Then you've got 6. So then you get 3 times.
It's
3 to the power of 6.
So
which 3 times 3 is 9, 27.
So it is 3 to the power of what, 6?
Yeah. You can go there. 6 equals
729.
Yeah. So 729 mana from each land is relatively useful. It's
only relatively.
Yeah, it's
It's not
very
infinite mana.
It's not infinite, but it's so much that you're ever going to use all that mana.
Yeah.
Unless you're going for some kind of infinite combo, I guess.
Even then, you're not going to need that much.
Yeah, not even that many infinite combos require that much mana.
Like if you're milling your library and it costs 4 per mill, that's only 400. 1 land will cover that with 6 Nyxglobe Ancients. Okay, so on to the next one. We have... Where were we up to? Yes, Splendid Reclamation. 3 and a green for a sorcery. Return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Yeah.
So this is really, really good, because if you're milling yourself or getting cards from your hand into the graveyard, you can ramp yourself by quite a bit with this deck.
Yeah,
and
so this is the same effect as the World Shaper when it dies, but you can do it, well, only at sorcery speed, but still...
it happens instantly. You don't
yeah.
need to kill it off or make someone block it. Most likely, people will try and not block it and let the damage get through. So people, unless you make some sort of pact against someone, then you're most likely needing to kill off the creature yourself, whereas this is just on a sorcery, so the effect happens instantly.
Then we have Sylvan Awakening, 2 and a green. Until your next turn, all lands you control become 2/2 elemental creatures with reach, indestructible, and haste. They're still lands. So this is very good because we have a lot of lands coming onto the battlefield in our deck, and it means that you just can suddenly turn all your lands into a massive army, and absolutely destroy your opponents.
Yeah, so I guess it's a win-con for 3 mana, which is great.
Yep.
This is just great value. Urban Evolution, 3 and a green and a blue, so 3 and a Simic.
Yep. Draw 3 cards. You may play an additional land this turn. So it's like Growth Spiral, but for an additional 3 mana, you get to draw 2 additional cards. Yeah. Still decent guy. Then we've got 5 Planeswalkers. Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. So the last card of the packet of 3 that can... so it's 1 and 3 blue mana for 4 Loyalty Planeswalker. So if you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game. So that
basically a lab man.
Yeah, so it's another copy of Laboratory Maniac.
Except on a Planeswalker with abilities that helps you mill yourself.
Yep, so then target player, +1, target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard, draw a card. So card draw, and you can mill your opponents or yourself. And then minus
Which
8.
it will usually be yourself.
Yeah, but not always. If someone's on low cards, so maybe.
Yeah.
Minus 8, draw 7 cards. Then if your library has no cards in it, you win the game.
So it's another win con if we roll through our deck.
Yeah. Then Nisa, Voice of Zendikar.
Nisa.
Nisa.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Plus 1 and 2 green for 3 loyalty planeswalker. +1, put a 0/1 green plant creature token onto the battlefield. -2, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. And then -7, you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the number of lands you control. So that's super useful. You can create an army of 0/1 plants, and then -7 with a lot of lands. We can gain hopefully somewhere around 20 life and maybe draw 20 cards. Yeah. A decent. That's highly likely to happen.
20 lands, jeez.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, because,
Maybe 15.
there's only usually, how many have we got in this deck? We have 46, okay, maybe.
I've messed around with this deck. You can, by the time that, say you play that on turn 4 or 5, maybe you won't be playing it turn 3, you want to play it turn 3 at least.
Yeah.
Then if you're ramping a lot, you can pull it off and very quickly you can get to 15 lands. It's not hard.
Okay.
Especially with playing all the lands from your graveyard, and as long as you're milling and stuff, you can basically make sure you've got a ton of lands coming down.
Yeah, so this one is arguably the best Nissa. Nissa, Who Shakes the World. It's 3 green for a 5 loyalty planeswalker, and it's got a static effect. Whenever you tap a forest for mana, add an additional green. So this is just good on its own. Usually, if you're playing mono green, it doubles your mana. If you're playing 2 colors, if you've got non-basic lands, you can tap for, if you've got breeding pool down, you can tap for green and blue. And then if that wasn't already powerful enough, put +1. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target non-creature land you control. Untap it. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature token with vigilance and haste that's still a land.
So there you go, turning your lands into creatures again. Nice, powerful effect. Very useful.
And it also untaps it, so you can tap it for 2 mana, untap it, and then tap it for an additional 2. So it either gives you a creature for this turn, definitely a creature for next turn, but it also could give you 4 mana instead of 2.
Yeah.
And if
2 from each of your lands already is just great.
Yeah, and if even that wasn't powerful enough, it's got a -8. You get an emblem with lands you control have indestructible, and you search your library for any number of forest cards and put them on the battlefield tap. Then shuffle your library.
There you go, that gives you a decent amount of land.
Only a little bit. So if you're running them basics again, it searches for those. If you're looking for forests, we've already got 17 forests in the deck, which is already a lot. Do we have any non-basic forests?
Yeah, we should. Yeah, I put some.
Yeah. Well, if we do have them, anyway.
I put breeding pool Tropical Island.
You did?
Yeah.
It's gone.
Oh.
Because it was apparently too expensive.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. If you've got non-basic forests and islands in there, if you're building a deck similar to this, then yeah, you can grab those.
Yeah, so the next one, Tamio, Collector of Tales. So 2 and a Simic for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. Spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause you to discard cards or sacrifice permanents. And then it's got a +1. Choose your non-land card name, then reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all the cards with the chosen name from among them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Then, -3, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is all around good. You can't be told to discard cards and sacrifice permanents, which is usually how people get around indestructible and hexproof and stuff. Then the +1, you'd usually name forests, or if you'd scryed, then you can get that one up. Or you could just be extremely lucky and randomly name a card name and get that. And then the -3, it's just bringing back the cards you mill or discard. Yeah, just good value. I actually got that in my,
Secret Lair.
yeah.
You got the, Tamio...
Stained glass.
Stained glass. Nice.
Yeah, and the last one, which has been very controversial in specifically Standard, which has also been banned in Brawl, but not Commander, thankfully. Thankfully for us, but not opponents. Opponents will hate you. This is Oko, Thief of Crowns.
I run this in a couple of my decks.
Atraxa. Super Friends, which is not a lot.
Okay, anyway. It's 1 a green and a blue for a 4 loyalty planeswalker, so already decent value there. +2 create a food token. Food tokens are useful, you can sacrifice them if you need to.
And if your loyalty's getting low, it just grants your loyalty up.
Yeah, and then +1, target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elf creature with base power and toughness 3. So, you know, those pesky artifacts and massive creatures that they've got going on.
Oh yeah, they're
gone.
3/3 elks.
Yeah.
The Crucible of Worlds is a 3/3 elk.
Yeah. So it can definitely shut
Black
down
Steel
a lot.
Colossus is a 3/3 elk.
Yeah, that's generally useful. Gets around things like
Generally
indestructible.
useful.
Yeah, gets around things like indestructible.
Its removal is a +1.
Yeah, and the fact that it's a +1 is also extremely useful. Then it's got a -5. Exchange control, target artifact or creature you control, and target creature an opponent controls with power 3 or less. There are a lot of creatures, including commanders, running around in our format that are exceptionally powerful and only have power,
3.
Maybe 3 power or less. And that is extremely good for us if we want to steal them and give them maybe a food token in return, which not necessarily the best choice.
Yeah, so I think it was meant to be you +2, create food tokens, and then you turn them into elks to make an army of elks.
And then you exchange control of, or you
Your
turn
elks.
your opponent's stuff into elks, and then you exchange the food token you have with the elk that you gave them. But that's not how it turns out to work. It's way more broken than that. It's just +1, +1, +1, turn everything that they control into a 3/3 elk.
Elk party, yeah. Elk tribal, except there's not enough elks for elk tribal.
Yeah,
So we need to hope. And then
one of our friends got elk tribal, not commando though. So
Yeah.
he had a lot of copies of the same elk.
yeah, 4 specifically.
So now on to enchantments. We've got Kalni Hard Expedition.
Kalani.
It's Kalni. It's, if you read it, it's Kalni.
Oh yeah, it's Kalani. Oh, yeah, okay. So it's 1 green for an enchantment with a landfall trigger. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a quest counter on Kalani Hard Expedition.
Kalni.
Kalani. Remove 3 quest counters from Kalani Hard Expedition and sacrifice it. Search your library for up to 2 basics, and put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library.
So I believe this card is originally from original Zendikar block. Set. And was part of like a cycle of enchantments that you would got that were
Expeditions.
quests. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then next one, Omen of the Hunt.
So another one, another new one from Theros Beyond Death. 2 and a green for an enchantment with flash. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. And it's got a activated ability, 2 and a green, to sacrifice it to scry 2.
Yeah. So that's it's a similar one to all the other omens, which are all commons from Theros Beyond Death. So they all have flash, and when they enter the battlefield, they do an effect. And then you can pay 3 mana, one of which is their color, and you get to scry 2, which is useful.
Yeah. Now a new saga from Theros Beyond Death, The Binding of the Titans.
This is quite flavorful actually, with our commander being Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. So 1 on the green. So sagas are, as this saga enters the battlefield, and after your draw step, add a lore counter to it, and each lore counter has a different effect, or sometimes they have similar effects. But so when the first lore counter goes onto it, each player puts the top 3 cards of their library into their graveyard, which is useful for us.
Yeah.
Then 2, the second lore counter, exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards, For each creature card exiled this way, you gain 1 life. So you can deal with other people's graveyards and maybe gain some life from your own if you really need to.
Yeah.
And then also, on turn 3, return target creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand.
So again, this is useful for us because we've got
Lots of stuff going to the graveyard.
yeah.
And we can just grab it back. It's useful.
Hey.
You do have to sacrifice it after that, like all sagas.
Another saga, the Mending of Dominaria. So 3 and 2 green for the saga, and the first and second lore counter are the same thing. Put the top two cards from your library into your graveyard. Then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And then number 3 is return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Then shuffle your graveyard into your library.
That's very useful, actually.
Yeah. And this one is a card which,
See, it's a lot of play in mono green decks, I believe.
yeah, you played with the one the other night,
Yeah.
which was very fun.
He was taking advantage of it a lot with his Yaeva deck.
So he was drawing like 3 cards every
turn.
time he cast a creature, and he had 2 mana for every fast.
Yeah, so this is Zendikar Resurgent. Sees a lot of play in our format generally.
Yeah,
Being
5
7
and,
mana enchantment.
Yeah, 5 and 2 green. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card.
Nice.
So, if a mana doubler wasn't already good enough for a 7 mana enchantment, and
It's generally not that good.
Yeah,
There's lots of
but
other mana
it-
doublers.
yeah, no, but
Or
it's
7 mana for a mana tripler. That also is a thing.
Yeah, but it's usually mana doublers don't let you tap for the other color of mana.
Yeah, that's true.
And but whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. It's just card advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't usually see play in a lot of other formats because it's again
Too
7
high.
mana. Too
But
high
definitely
mana
a
cost
staple
for
for Commander.
Yeah, because Commander goes for a lot longer, a lot more ramp is in it, a lot more like cheaper ramp especially. Yeah. Is that it?
No, then we
Except for
got...
lands.
Yeah, oh yeah, and we'll just quickly go through the land. So,
Alchemist Refuge, just a
Yeah,
general
so-
one that lets you play
1 Alchemist
Flash.
Refuge, 1 Ash Barrens, 1 Bad River, 1 Blighted Woodland, 1 Command Tower, great card, 1 Desert of the Indomitable, I always say that word wrong, 1 Desert of the Mindful, 1 Exotic Orchard, 1 Field of the Dead,
banned in standard.
another great card, creates a lot of zombies in this deck, 1 Forbidden Orchard, 1 Grasslands, 1 Hinterland Harbour, 1 Lonely Sandbar, 1 Mountain Valley, 1 Myriad Landscape, that's a ramp land, 1 Reliquary Tower, 1
No
Remote...
max hand size.
No max hand size, always useful, and especially when you're drawing so many cards. 1 Remote Isle, 1 Slippery Cast, 17 Snow-Covered Forests. Snow-covered lands are better than normal ones. 7 Snow-Covered Islands, 1 Temple of Mystery, 1 Tranquil Thicket, 1 Waterlogged Grove, and 1 Yavimaya Coast.
Yeah, I don't know what most of those lands are, but they're probably good. You'll
Yeah.
be seeing them on screen. So you know, but I don't.
Yeah, they're all decent lands. So then, yeah.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoy, and
If
if you'd like to see more of our content. And see you next time.
Bye.